Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bob Waldron and welcome to this new step-by-step where we're going to be building this beauty just here. It is by Meng Models, it's in 1/48 scale and it is the Boeing A-18E Super Hornet. Now this kit is going together really well. It's a really great fit, probably one of the best FA-18s you can get out there in 1/48 scale. We're going to do it in a step-by-step format, so please do go to Genesis Models website and check out all the episodes over there. We're also going to be doing, once we've got this all done, do a rapid video build format as well, so do stay tuned for that. So apart from this quick brief intro, let's just get down and let's get some building done. So let's get started by opening up the box, and what you'll find is this kit has absolutely lovely surface detail all round with raised recessed panel lines, recessed rivets, a gorgeous internal cockpit as well, as you can see. Before we get started, we're going to be using the HPBH throughout this video from Iwata, and we got given this by airbrush.com. Right, it has a 0.2mm needle for some fine detail and a 1.5mm colour cup. So if you're interested in this airbrush, please go check out airbrush.com. Coming in with Vallejo's 56 and 50, thin them a 50-50 mix and give them a good stir. Now we're going to start off with the black green here, and this is going to be our base for what we're going to do is some Zenithal on the actual cockpit. This is so as when we come in with the our light grey here, which is the Vallejo 050, we can create highlights and stuff. And by the way, this airbrush does have a nice feature where you can basically have a regulator on the airbrush. So as you can see, you've got to come in at that correct angle. You know, you just want to be shooting down just so as the top bits get sprayed 050, and then you've got this kind of feathered in bit going down the bottom to give us that kind of like dark look at the bottom of the cockpit. Bit of masking tape here just to kind of tidy things up just at the back there, and we can remove that and have everything nice and neat. Now we're going to be doing some decaling here with micro sol. We're going to whack that on first, not micro set. We're going to come in nice and strong because we've got all these buttons that our decals need to conform to. A nice needle as well, just to kind of position it just right, and then we're going to whack the micro sol straight back on top of that, and you've got to just keep whacking it on until everything nicely conforms. As you can see, really good decals and really looks good. Now with the Mr. White Putty, we're going to be using a spatula just to kind of fill in. We've got a bunch of ejector pin marks in there. You want to use a nice spun sanding stick to go with the curve on this, even a bit of a wet sand at the end just to get rid of those ejector pin marks. Now we're going to come in with the Tamiya cement, the thick one, right, and we're going to glue this on old school style so as we can get some oozing going on with the plastic, right, getting the plastic to dissolve a bit, and you give it a bit of a wiggle and we get that plastic to start oozing out, right, and this is so we can get rid of the gaps that you have inside these air intakes to make it easier for sanding. Even using a normal paintbrush, we can, you know, apply the Tamiya extra thin cement and just keep rubbing at it to kind of blend in and feather in all that sort of wet, oozed up plastic. Once we've done that, we can come in with some H11. Oh, sorry, before we do that, we're going to just sand away with, again, a sponge sanding stick, nice and fine. Then it's going to be H11 white, just to spray all the inside, which should be nice and easy and nice and smooth in there. Now, you might have to get your airbrush right in there, but if you just spiral out of it, you can sort of stop getting that overspray. Now I did have a mistake here. I got some oil or something on and it made spots. You know, just give it a rub down with maybe water and soap. So as you can see with our sort of bottom landing gear here, I mean, it's not perfect, I will admit, but it's a lot better by cleaning those little spots up with a bit of water. You know, you could strip it completely back and start again if you want to, but it's not bad. It's like a nice quick fix. We're now going to do our air intake fans just here. I'm going to be using the dark iron. Just give them a good shake because it does sediment at the bottom. Right, I'm just going to open this up, and I'm just sort of showing you because these are lacquer based type paints, and this a water HPBH you know, can take lacquer based paints. Also, it's quite cool because, you know, you want to get your air pressure like somewhere in the regions of like 10 psi, but because we've got this nice little valve screw just here, we can sort of, you know, if you're a little bit experienced, you can sort of turn it, and you kind of, you know, you don't have to look at a regulator to be like, that's 10 psi. You know, you can just sort of almost hear the sound of it to kind of know sort of around about, it's around about that psi. And then when you actually kind of like spray it down, right, you can actually sort of see how it's spraying. Like, that is probably going to need a little bit more air just to get that to come out a bit nicer, maybe a little bit more. Right, you don't need to really look at a regulator, right? You can just see how it comes out, and it's, as long as it starts feathering, right, because we don't have to like do a 50-50 mix with this, and we can just simply spray this on. Right, I'm just putting this on neat. I've not even got a primer on this, to be honest with you. I'm not too bothered about this because it's sort of like, it's so deep in those air intakes that you're not really going to see it, so it's kind of just kind of making something look a bit dark at the end, but you know, it's got to have a bit of a metallic shine to it as well. Now this stuff does dry pretty quick as well, so we could probably actually even start buffing this right now. So I normally do use and same sort of cloth, right? Now this will do. I should probably clean it, to be honest with you, but finding a clean part, we can just begin to just lightly rub at this, right? And this is the cool thing about the dark iron color is, you know, it kind of just it goes down like a really dark black sooty sort of color, but you know, you start to try and sort of buff it up, and you can only buff where the raised bits are, so all the raised bits turn nice and metallic and shiny, and all the recessed areas stays that kind of dark sort of buffed sort of dark dusty black color, which kind of almost kind of does all the weathering and everything for you, as you can see, pretty quick and easy, and that's pretty cool. A little bit of a recommendation here, Mr. Tool Cleaners, pretty good for cleaning out your airbrushes when it comes to those lacquer based paints, so just use that. I then have, if you've ever sort of come across sort of, you know, you kind of spray in the white in your landing gear areas, and then you sort of get it on the sides, and it actually kind of builds up a bit and kind of turns a bit marbly. Nice and easy. I've got in this sort of old pot of Vallejo here, and what's in here is IPA, as pure as you can get it, like 99% if you can get it, as strong as you can get that. And then a kitchen paper towel, 1 second. Right, and we're going to just clean it up, and what you'll find is IPA is absolutely beautiful for cleaning up paint. Right, so if we just sort of get you on camera there, and we just give this a bit of a rub, right, as you can see, right, we're just cleaning that paint off those edges, getting rid of all those kind of marbly bits, as you can see. And because it's like a sharp edge, you even sort of get your spray work all nice and sharp, and it's just exactly where it needs to be. So when we come to put down our actual coats of paint on here, we're not going to see lumpy bits of paint around that area. So it's also good to get rid of fingerprints and grease and stuff. Really makes the surface perfect for when you want to go off and do some spraying. So little tip there. Problem we've got with building this kit is the instructions. They want you to go off and take our air intake and landing gear here and actually glue them together like so, and then place it into the model. And I have tried this, I've already glued one together, and I've just found that it just doesn't want to go right. Let's get the right piece first. Right, it doesn't want to go in. I'm all fingers here, hold on. It doesn't want to quite go in quite well. So if I kind of get our landing gear, which you'll see in a sec, sort of looking nicely in position, really looks like a nice fit just there. But then if I try and get our air intake in, right, it's sort of leaving all this gappage. Hopefully, as you can see, you know, all this gappage going on here. So what I'm going to do is, I've already done this with the other one, I've sort of started to sand off all our little, you know, location tabs and stuff that are on these pieces, so as I can just go off, if I get the right piece, and actually just glue these in separately and individually, so we can just close any of those gaps as best as possible. You know, it's not perfect, but we can get it a lot better than if we glued them all together. So now actually gluing this all together, there's a bit of a process to get our air intake in really nice. First off, let's take our landing gear piece, right, and what we want to do is just simply, let's bring you in a bit closer, is glue this in so it just fits nice and perfect all the way around, right? And what we want to do is just leave this to dry, right? We don't want to be having this landing gear be moving about, right, while we're trying to install the air intakes and all those bits, putting clamps on them and all this kind of stuff. And as we're trying to position that perfectly, our landing gear kind of knocks out of place or something. So I'm going to just, now that's in a nice position, I'm just going to just leave that to dry. With our landing gear all nicely in position, we're going to come in with these side bits. Now, with this, right, I know like the older FA-18s, Hasegawa, Revell, right here at the back, right, is always been a right pain to do. It's always had to have a lot of work done at the back there, but this is such a nice sort of precise fit. I mean, it's not perfect, but it does mean you've got a lot less work. So what we want to do is, still without putting our air intake in here, we want to get out a couple of like pegs, F clamps, G, whee, there's that one gone, just get that. You want to get like F clamps, G clamps, that kind of stuff, right, and hopefully this won't fly off again. Right, but if we can just get an F clamp on the bottom of there as well, just to sort of kind of lock those edges in. Right, admittedly we're going to have to hold this with our finger because there's kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it a slight bit of warpage going on. This peg is not playing nice at all. It really wants to slip off. Maybe we'll just turn that around. Try a different peg, see if we can get away with that. No, we're not playing nice. The other side did. Yeah, so those pegs did not want to play, they'll just keep slipping. So we'll just come in with some F clamp, right, or G clamps, whichever ones you want to use, because I do appreciate F clamps are hard to find, right? And we do just get a bit more pressure on that. This is this area, this sort of L shape there, that's where we're going to want to sort of probably have to use our fingers to hold that in. But once we're happy that's in place, I'm just going to actually start, let's make sure this back's going to go in nice, a little bit of pressure, that should be good. I just want to start with this front bit first. So we've got a join line just inside that air intake there, so I just want to get a nice run along there, and then we're going to run a nice bit across the top just here, trying to make sure we don't touch the F clamps and end up leaving an F clamp print, right? And this is where we kind of need to sort of a little bit of a press with our finger and a little bit of a press down just there, because it just, you know, it's one of these things, sometimes you just can't quite find a peg or something that's going to hold that into position. So this is where I'm going to actually just hold it, you know, wait that sort of maybe 60 seconds or something. The cool thing is I am using the Tamiya Thin Cement quick setting, so it doesn't take that long to set, so I'll just keep holding my finger just there. Also to note, after just holding that, there is like a little bit of a line inside there. You can probably see it this side a little bit better. That's just something going on with the way it kind of goes together. There is a real cool hack for that, which I'll show you later on, to get rid of that. So with that in position now, I'm quite happy to probably go off and actually put our air intake inside, so we can come in from the underside and just very carefully just try and sort of squeeze that in, maybe a little bit of force to get it in just to start with. Alright, but then we should see on the inside that that is all nicely in position. It just now allows us, right, this is why I'm going about this the way it is we're not relying on this air intake sitting on the landing gear, and the landing gear sitting on the underside of the fuselage section. You know, we are totally and utterly able to position and get this air intake on its own, get it in the right position that we want it to be in. All we've done now is just put some glue down into the corners just here, and I've kind of pressing it this side and sort of looking inside there, just making sure all those edges are nicely glued to all the sides, not leaving any gaps in there. What we want to do now is, it needs a bit of support this end because it's kind of like free floating at the back. Now we could use super glue, but you know what, Mr. White Putty is actually going to be really good for this job. Now it's a little bit harder to get in here at this stage. It's kind of easy getting the first one in, so maybe a bit of a spatula just to start off with, and we want some nice big blobs of this, and we're basically going to use this as a bit of glue kind of thing. It's going to kind of fill into that big gap, right, and trust me, when this stuff dries, it is going to support that absolutely lovely, so we don't have kind of like, I don't know, this floating a bit and like it gets pressed or something and knocks it out of this end. As you can see, that's filling in. I've done the opposite side just there. When that goes rock solid, it will be sorted. Next up we have just the rear part. Now this is, as I say, you know, when it comes to the Hasegawa kits and the Vel kits, always an absolute pain of an area to do, but with this kit it does just give us such a nice fit. We can get some pegs in there, right, just to, you know, lock that in. And if we've got any gaps, I mean, I did on the opposite side but not this side, so I did use an F-clamp, but it doesn't look like we quite need it on this side, right? And we can just run some some Tamiya's thin cement nicely around there. I've glued this side, which, as you can see, you know, it's so much better than our Revell counterparts and stuff. I mean, there's maybe, almost feels like maybe a bit of oozed out glue maybe just there, but you know, everything lines up. As you can see, all these recess panel lines are actually lining up quite well, which didn't happen with like the Hasegawa kits and stuff. So I mean, fill on there and a bit of a sand, hopefully that should be it'll be a lot easier. I know the Hasegawa in them kits, you know, it's a nightmare kind of like filling, sanding and scribing them ones in. So there you go, that is installing the air intakes. It's always kind of like one of these problem areas when it comes to FA-18s. We might find some more as we go along with this build, but that is it for episode 1. Please, if you do want to go off and watch the rest of the episode, please go off to the Genesis Models website where you will find all those episodes over there. I'll also be going off and doing this as a rapid video build format as well as a step-by-step format, so do stay tuned for that. Other than that, I'll catch you in the next episode.